In Europa Universalis IV, exploring the unknown areas was only 3 lightships, 1 explorer, and click of a button away. You could explore entire regions almost without fail and for little to no money. In EU5, that's changed and there is much more investment and risk involved. There's a lot to learn about exploration and colonies in EU5 from Paradox's Discovery Dev Diary, so let's dive in. Let's begin with exploration. First of all, why does exploration matter in the game? Picture this. You're a rising power in Europa Universalis V. Your merchants are desperate for new trade routes, your nobles are whispering about untapped lands beyond the horizon, and your rivals, they are already preparing their ships. So if you want more wealth, colonies, and global power, you'll need to explore in EU5. Interestingly, in EU5, the locations you can launch expeditions from now include not only your own ports, but also those of your subjects or even allies. This means your initial port could be closer to the area you want to explore thanks to your allies, potentially opening up earlier discovery opportunities. For example, allies on the edges of Europe, like Portugal, could give you an early advantage, letting you use their ports to extend your reach. In EU5, there are also logistics for exploration. There is an upfront ducat cost to launch the expeditions, and you'll also need to provide the crew for the expedition, along with materials such as lumber, tools, and naval supplies. For some reason, food isn't required, but liquor is listed among the necessary provisions. Next, you'll need to assign a character to lead the expedition. This can be one of your available characters, or sometimes historical figures appear through events, like Columbus or Ferdinand Magellan. Once the expedition is underway, various events can occur. These can range from delays or accelerations of the voyage to complete failure, and some may even impact societal values back home. Another change in EU5 about exploration which I like is that you won't see the areas your fleet has discovered until the expedition safely returns home and reports its findings. Honestly, it didn't make much sense in EU4 that you could see everything your explorers found on the other side of the world in real time. Quick reminder, if you're enjoying this video, hit like and subscribe so you won't miss the future EU5 videos that are on the way. Back to the video. And one last thing about exploration before we move on to colonization in EU5. The length of an expedition depends on a few important factors. First, the distance. How far your ships are traveling relative to your nation's naval range affects how quickly they can make the change. The further they have to go, the longer it takes. Second, the terrain itself matters. Deep seas or calm coastal waters, for instance, can slow things down. With that covered, let's dive into the colonization section of the Dev Diary and see how these chartered lands turn into colonies in Europa Universalis V. Just like exploration, colonization in EU5 also comes with an upfront cost and ongoing maintenance. To complete a colonial charter, you'll need to colonize every province in that location that you are trying to complete the charter in. Now, this can be a bit confusing for us EU4 players. In EU5, provinces are more like what regions used to be in EU4, and locations are actually what EU4 called provinces. Confusing, right? Hopefully we'll get used to it once the game is fully out. In EU5, colonization works a bit differently because of the POPs system, which we didn't have in EU4 obviously. When you attempt to colonize a province, POPs actually migrate from your country to the new colony in EU5, and you can even choose which province in your nation they come from. Unlike in EU4, in EU5, areas with dense native populations take more time and resources to colonize. That said, similar to EU4, more rigid or less habitable provinces will still attract fewer POPs in EU5. So as the crown, you'll need to consider both the environment and the population when planning your colony in Europa Universalis V. You can boost the number of people migrating through technology, laws, government reforms, higher outward social values, and a stronger maritime presence in the region you are sending the POPs from. On the flip side, in EU5, the further away the colony is, the fewer people will make the journey. Having stronger inward societal values at home can also reduce the number of POPs heading out. Building on that, EU5 also introduces competition between nations even when one nation has gotten to the location first and has started moving POPs there. Multiple countries can attempt to settle the same province in EU5, and the nation with the largest number of POPs wins the province in the colonial charter. The POPs sent by other countries also remain in the colony once it's completed. That means if you send settlers and another nation ends up getting the province, you'll lose your POPs to that nation. So timing and speed of your POPs moving to the colonies matters a lot more with this feature. For Catholic nations, this competition can lead to something like the Treaty of Tordesillas that lets them essentially divide the world between themselves. I actually have a video covering this treaty, which is a whole situation in of itself, so check the link in the description if you haven't seen that video yet. Similar to EU4, you'll need 1,000 pups in every location with a colonial charter for the colony to be considered complete. More specifically, 36% of the pups in each location need to follow your primary or accepted culture, and another 36% need to share your nation's religion for the colony to complete in EU5. The native population in each province will remain once the colony is established as tribesmen pups. Unlike EU4, where colonized provinces would be handed over to colonial subjects, in EU5 you can retain direct control over them, and obviously you still have the option to create a colonial subject and play as them if you wish, or even integrate a colony into an existing subject you already have in the colonial region. But the subject and the colony need to share borders. I hope this doesn't lead to border wars, but I fear it might. In Europa Universalis V, your colonial subjects give you 2.5% of monthly income from all sources. They also provide manpower and sailors every month, plus 33% of their trade advantage and trade capacity by default, and they'll obviously join your offensive and defensive wars. You can also press sailors or siphon income from them if you need to. And just like in EU4, they'll be developing their lands, growing and evolving as part of the world of Europa Universalis. Overall, the discovery mechanics and colonial subjects in EU5 feel deeper and more complex compared to EU4, so make sure to like and subscribe so you won't miss the future EU5 videos that are on the way. Thank you for watching.